Welcome back to Hardball. So how are the big shots shaping the 2008 presidential race? My two guests know all about that. Harold Schaeferger is president of the International Association of Firefighters. By the way, he was one of the kingpins of the last Democratic fight. If you remember, he was standing next to John Kerry out there in Iowa in the caucuses, and he carried him over the finish line, this man personally. And former Ohio Secretary of State Ken Blackwell is now with the Family Research Council. So let's find out. We'll get to that. Well, let's get to something I'm more familiar with, which is labor here. Is labor going to get in there for Edwards? Because everything he's saying everything right for you guys, and he's out there leading in the Iowa caucuses. What more can he do for you guys than he's done? He's with you on trade. He's with you on everything.
John Edwards has been great on the labor movement issues.
Every issue.
And by the way, it's really great to see a candidate for President of the United States use the word union and be comfortable with it and mean it. But the labor movement is going to wait, Chris. We all have made a decision.
What more can this guy do to get you?
Well, we're going to take a look at all the candidates. Not a matter of what any one candidate can do.
Would you back a candidate who agree with you even if you thought they couldn't beat the front runner? Is this all about fingering the wind stuff?
We always back a candidate that, number one, will support our issues and is consistent with our members' views, and then we're going to back, within those candidates, the person that can win, because nothing else counts other than winning.
Let me ask you about your party and the cultural right. I noticed that there's no cultural conservative Southern Baptist type running, is there? This time.
I tell you right now.
Actually, the president isn't quite in that category, but he's people are very comfortable with this president in terms of his fundamentalists, his beliefs, his Christian beliefs, his cultural values. Is there a candidate out there now that shares the president's cultural values?
It seems as if Fred Thompson, who has yet to declare, who has yet to declare, is starting to build a momentum among social conservatives. But I'll tell you,
well, he's from Tennessee. He's from the buckle of the Bible Belt. I believe he's Baptist. He fits all he's pro-life, and he has been for many years. He fits all the categories. There's nobody else like him.
He hasn't pulled the trigger though, and so you know. The answer to your question is that there's a gathering momentum for Thompson. But I'll tell you right now, as the numbers indicated in Iowa, Romney has played a strategy that is very impressive. He's basically said, if you can win in Iowa and New Hampshire,
they are very impressive.
You'll get the momentum and the
Des Moines Register numbers right now, as I just said, are 30%. He's not up there in double digits. He's way up there in a wide field.
Look, Chris, and 30%, 33% of the participants in the caucuses in January will be social conservatives and Christian conservatives and conservative Catholics. I mean, they're going to have an impact.
So the LDS thing, being a Mormon, you don't think is stopping support for him among that community?
I think they view him as a conservative Mormon, not a traditional Christian, but a person who is articulating values that they share.
What about McCain? He's still seen as the odd man out among that crowd, isn't he?
Well, you know,
I mean, if you were to walk into the Family Research Council when you get back from the show tonight and say, "I just love this guy McCain," wouldn't they think you were an oddball?
Oh, they would look at me cross-eyed.
What is McCain's problem? I mean, I know he's mainstream, he's Episcopalian, he's somewhat secular in his politics. What is it that turns cultural conservatives off about McCain?
Well, I think it's issues on positions and a history of sort of thumping the foreheads of Christian conservatives.
You mean calling them agents of intolerance?
Agents of intolerance and a host of other things. And so, look, I think he's still in the game.
Would you vote for him over Hillary?
Well, quite naturally, I would. I think that we have a field that's stronger than people give
Well, Romney's doing well thanks to our debate. He seemed to have done well in our debate. And not that was the purpose of the debate.
And while Rudy is not in a free fall, I think he's beating expectations right now. So I mean, it's a pretty competitive field.
Do you think anybody would cause you trouble with the Republicans? Would you have a hard time holding your voters against Rudy?
No, my voters are going to be against Rudy. Let me tell you one thing, Chris. You usually ask me who we're going to be for, and I always tell you who we're going to be against is Rudy Giuliani, and we're going to be expressing our views on what we think.
What's the worst thing you would tell your rank and file about the man we're looking at right now?
We're going to tell the rank and file the truth. First of all, we're going to tell them exactly what his actions were that led up to 9/11 as it related to members of FDNY and not having the adequate radios to be able to communicate. 121 of our members members dying in the North Tower because they could not communicate and hear the evacuation messages while
that's this man's personal fault.
Not one police officer. I believe that on him. He should have had those radios replaced. He knew it in 1993. He put inadequate new radios in the field in the year 2000, had to pull them out of the field, and those firefighters were using the same radios that they were using in 1993.
But you're a firefighter. Isn't it true that in most cities, the firefighters and the police just don't get along? They don't normally have a well-coordinated operation.
No, that has nothing to do with the issues.
But is that the case?
It's not necessarily the case, but it has nothing to do with what the actions were of the mayor as it related to our members on 9/11. It has nothing to do with his decision. So you would say in the average big city,
you're telling me in Philly, Chicago, New York, Boston, most cities besides New York, that the firemen and the police are on the same frequency. You're telling me that?
No, I'm not telling you that. What I am telling you
it's his fault it wasn't the case in New York.
What I am telling you is you asked me about what our members would do related to Rudy Giuliani, and I'm telling you that our members all across this country, as they've learned and as they know the actual decisions that he made that affected our members, loss of life, with trying to continue with dignified recovery of the fallen.
So they like Hillary more than him?
No, we're not going to say who we like.
No, what I'm asking
you know is who we're going to be working against.
The firefighter out there coming out of the fire station has to vote that day. Will you vote for Hillary or Rudy?
We're going to make that decision on Labor Day, and we're going to evaluate the candidates, continue to do so as we have been, and then we'll make an informed decision. Let our members know, and
because I remember the bullying Hillary too. I remember that stuff.
Well, and I also know that Hillary now has made sure that the firefighters in New York and across this country now have the resources they need. She's been making sure the medical monitoring and the follow-up medical treatment has been in place. She's fought for their resources.
I think I hear you, Harold.
Pretty hard to dislodge Rudy as a national hero.
We're back with Harold Shateberger of the International Association of Firefighters and Ken Blackwell, the Family Research Council. Let me ask you about the Reverend Jerry Falwell. A lot of ink both directions on this fellow. Well, give me your bottom line on him.
He did a lot to mobilize now 60 million Christian evangelicals into a powerful force. Now, I'll tell you, Chris, there are a lot of candidates who believe that they can win without the Christian right. I don't believe that that's the case. They can't take that voting bloc for granted, and they can't walk away and expect to win in
And do you think that voting bloc matters in the big cities up in Ohio and places like that, not just in the South?
Oh, I really do. I think because their agenda is an agenda that is clear and it is succinct.
Well, I see all the big mega churches. I can see the evangelical movement right around here. Do you believe that that's a big part of American power, economic power, political power right now?
Absolutely.
These churches?
And in fact, you know, our membership really has a strong Christian base. Our members are morally strong and strong character.
Maybe it makes sense that you would be religious. Anyway, take a break. We're going to bring it right now.